also as a Christian minister. I thought that was a very beautiful combination, to be a professional counselor and then to be a minister in God's kingdom as well. And during that teaching, I've never seen Premier Radio so busy with people calling in. People were calling in, and like, gosh, the world is so full of problems. And she was so patient with everyone that would call in, and she would give them a word and pray with them. And like, I really want Lynn to come to our church. And so after that program, I actually tried to contact her. Not by phone, but I sent her a message. And within few moments, she replied back. I said, oh, she replied me. Because I wasn't really expecting that quick reply. But she replied me, and I'm like, oh, I really would like to have you at a church, if you don't mind. What's the criteria? And we just got talking. And she was so easy to talk to. I found that so easy to talk to. And she said, oh, well, I'll check my schedule, and then we'll work something. I said, really? Because from what I heard about Lynn, she goes to big, big conferences, and she goes international as well. So I was just kind of like, let me try. She may come. If she doesn't come, nothing to lose. And so when she agreed to come to our church, I'm like, wow, that's so beautiful. And so that was how the journey started. So thank you very much, Lynn, for accepting to come to House of Favor to bless us. And I believe the Lord is going to use you here to bless us today. I'm so proud of the work you're doing and what God is using you to do in Christendom and lives God is using you to transform. And I hope that we'll all be able to connect and be blessed today from your teaching and from your healing ministry. So a little bit about Lynn. Lynn have been involved in healing prayer since 1979. That's an awful long time. So talk about experience, she's got it. Since 1979. Having been on team with Frances McNutt, John Wimber, and Lynn Payne, and she began to train her own team in the UK, which became formalized as the Healing Prayer School, now known as HPS. And she's been doing this since the 1990s. She has worshipped at All Saints Woodford Wells Church since 1975. She's been in this same church since 1975. That's a lifetime. Wow, is what commendable. I thought we were going to clap. Let's clap properly for Lynn. Well done, Lynn. Since 1975, she's been in one same church. And she has been there as a member, and then now she works in senior staff team for well over 20 years. She continues to have a one-to-one healing prayer ministry, as well as being a chaplain for Westminster Theology Center. She's a regular speaker on Premier Christian Radio. In fact, that was where I got to know her. She's a daughter of the King of Kings, and her greatest joy and privilege is to be part of Jesus' manifesto to bring sight to the blind, set the captives free, and heal the brokenhearted. I would like everyone to please join me as we welcome to the microphone Lynn Button. Let's rise on our feet as we welcome her to the microphone. You're welcome, Lynn. Oh, thank you.
Well, what a welcome. Thank you all so much. I can't tell you, I won't really be able to express how excited we are as a team to be here. On a Thursday evening, every week, there's something between 8 and 14 of us meet to pray. And we really felt this was a God encounter. I just really did. We're really excited. I mean, we're praying about it all, release, healing, or transformation. So I'm going to start by telling you a little bit of my story, and along the way sort of explain some of my difficulties in life. So I came from a totally non-Christian background. My parents didn't go to church, weren't interested in church, and in fact, when I was 8 years old, I asked if I could go to Sunday school, and my mother said, no, you couldn't, only funny people went to church. So, however, my auntie bought me a picture Bible, and it had all these pictures of Jesus in it, and I used to sit and look at these pictures every night. And really loved them. However, as a teenager, I knew everything in the world, so I stopped believing in God and announced him as an emotional crutch for people who needed emotional support, but clever people like me didn't, of course, because I was so put together and self-sufficient, which just shows how unhealed I was, actually. So, however, I had my first baby at 20. I was married, had my first baby at 20. And then when you've got little babies or children and they're sick, this God I didn't believe in, I would pray to. So I'd sort of pray and say things like, oh, dear God, if you bring down Simon's temperature, I'll give up gin and tonics. Or if you do this, I'll stop swearing. So I had this whole way of bargaining with God. I came from a family whose both sides of my parents' families were shopkeepers and self-made business people. So you bargain. I give you something. I ask for something, I'll give you something back. So that was my view of God. It was total bargaining view of God. When my youngest was in a little prep school, I saw this lady and she had a sticker on her car. I was about 28, no, I was 29. I had this sticker on her car which said, "You need Jesus." I thought, oh gosh. Anyway, I would look at her and I thought, she doesn't look funny, she looks quite normal, because I've still got this memory of my mum telling me funny people went to church. So I got talking to her and she lent me a book called Into Battle by Arthur Wallace. And in this book it said that if I never viewed myself as a sinner because I hadn't murdered anyone or stolen anything, so but he said in this book that it's a sin not to have Jesus at the centre of your life, and that you have to pray to lovely for people like you, but it doesn't work for people like me. I can't do it. And she said, well, you don't understand very much, do you? And I thought vaguely, well, I don't know why I should, but anyway, I said, oh no. So she said, it's Christ within, the hope of glory. And as I got into my car, I sensed this circle that came from me up to whatever, back down to me. And as I got into my car, I thought, oh, I'm part of an eternal circle of love. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew somehow I belonged to something. It wasn't a someone at that point. So she then took me to a meeting at a local church, which at the time was totally into revival. This is 1974, and it was on a housing estate, and there was a coach there with all these people getting out the coach, and it was a small church and everyone was crammed in there forward to be prayed for. And I was prayed for, and I was laid out in the spirit. I came round, and the next day I went, much happened to me. So, but we have two issues. One is what's happened to